All right, so number 4, I'm gonna zoom in on this, we can use this, we're doing a geometry proof. If you give me all the lines, these are the ones you can now do shortcuts on. The reason why we can do shortcuts, because this is just a 2-column proof, it's geometry based, so you don't need to do every step like we did on problem number 3 and 2 and 3. So we can do some simple stuff. So what are my givens? Anyone happen to know?
AB is congruent to CD.
Boom, AB,
And then,
congruent to CD, and?
X equals 7.
Nope,
No, wait.
those 2 things.
Oh, AB.
4x minus 6 and 22.
Good, but you have to write AB is a 4x minus 6, and CD is a 22. The reason why you're allowed to do that is it's given in the picture, that's a given. This is what you're trying to prove. At no point should you start with that. Don't start with x equals 7. The part after then is what you're trying to prove in the last step. I need to get down to 7 at the very end, not using it in the beginning. So, line 1, where do I put my property? That's given. This always gets people. It's this stuff. It's given in the picture. Duh, you should write that down. Okay, so that's line 1. Line 2, if you're looking at the outline over there on the board, the outline for how to do a proof, we should redefine a vocab word. What's a weird symbol I used in the beginning? Congruent. We need to redefine what that means. So line number 2, that means that AB is equal to CD without the bars above it. In fact, there were supposed to be bars earlier. I just don't write them. My bad. So take the bars off, they're equal. The reason why, that's the definition of congruent. Def of congruent. If there's any weird symbols, maybe they say midpoint. Fine, definition of midpoint. Okay, line 3. If you look at my little outline over there, we should probably get to a formula. What are these objects? They're segments, right? Well, if I plug these things in, I can now take these items and plug them in here, and now I get my formula. I want to get to a formula either in line 3 or 4, whatever you need to get to, but I need a formula. So, line 3, I'm going to plug in what AB was. What was AB up above earlier?
4x minus 6.
Boom. Plug that in. What was CD earlier?
22.
Boom. That's substitution. I'm substituting those things in. Now, it's not segment addition. I don't need to do that. Segment addition is when you have sticks connected and you're trying to make the bigger stick. I don't have that. But I did substitute things in. Now I have a formula. That's number 3. Get to a formula. You need to solve for x. Let's keep solving. Step 4. How do I solve this thing? What do I do to both sides?
Have to add 6.
Add 6. So add 6, add 6. If you add 6 to both sides, that's your property name, right? It's add property equality. Just do it and write down the answer. What's the answer if I add 6 to both sides?
4x equals 28.
Boom, you can just do that. Because I'm allowing you to do shortcuts when you get to geometry steps. You don't need to make 0 and add 0 and then substitute now. You add 6 to both sides, that's the add property of equality. I will remind you tomorrow on the test, yes, the test is tomorrow, whether you need to, do shortcuts or not. Last step here, what do I have to do to both sides?
You have to divide 4.
Divide 4. Divide 4, divide 4. That's your property name, right? What do I get? 7. That's division property equality. And now I didn't need to do all the steps where I make 1 as reciprocal and then multiply by 1 by multi-identity and stuff. No, just divide to both sides and boom, you're done. Did it work out to be the answer? Yeah, duh. Done. You see how simple and easy it is? If you follow my outline over there, you should be fine. I'm not picking like the craziest, hardest example. I'm picking something easy enough, you can do it in 2 minutes on a piece of paper, as long as you understand. You have to start with the givens, redefine a vocab word, get to a formula, and then solve it out. Number 4 is going to be some type of geometry problem that you solve algebra, where you get to x is a number, and you can do the shortcuts. Like, the first 3 things should be almost like a guarantee you should get them right. All the givens, the definition that you need to use, get to a formula. Maybe in the middle you don't know how to solve for algebra, which is impossible, but you should. And then you should know your last line. It's not gonna be that many steps. I would expect 4 to 5 to 6 lines of just simple math. Okay, we good with that? Okay, hopefully that eases your stress. Like, it's not a hard problem. Get it done. All right, let's move on. This is not a towel. Towel, yeah. Anyone still need it though? So I'm going fast, sorry. Moving on. Let's go to number 5. 5, same exact idea. Same exact idea. We're gonna do a proof. It's gonna be a geometry. We do the basic properties. Don't overthink it. All right, this one. Something with angles. Expect that. Something with angles. The first one's segments. The next one's gonna be angles. It's gonna be something where algebra you solve. So how many lines of work are we expecting here?
4 to 6.
4 or 5, 6, somewhere in that range. That's basic. Will it take you more? Maybe. Will it take you less? Maybe, but it's in that ballpark, 4 to 6, right? So let's do the math. What do we start with?
Angle MPN is congruent to angle QPN.
Boom, MPN is congruent to QPN. And what else is given on the picture?
MPN is equal to x plus 26,
Oh.
QPN is equal to 2x plus 10.
Nice. PQPN is equal to 2x plus 10. Alright, nice. It's the exact same as the last problem. Like, I'm not meaning it to be difficult. You should know your givens. And by the way, this is the measure of that angle, and this is the measure of that angle. That's what those things are. Okay. What do we do in line 2?
Definition of congruent.
Yeah, so we gotta talk about what congruent means. It means the two angles are equal, right? So line number 2, the measure of angle MPN is equal to the measure of angle QPN. Definition of congruence. Maybe they talk about angle bisectors here, so you do definition of bisector, 2 angles are equal, I don't know. Something like that, where you just define a vocab word. They have a weird symbol, define the weird symbol. Maybe it talks about perpendicular, so you have 90 degrees. You talk about how these angles are 90. There's a definition of perpendicular, the right angles. I don't know, something easy. I'm not meaning it to be difficult. 3, we have to get to a formula. What can I do?
X plus 26 equals 2x plus 10.
Boom, 3, just plugging those in. X plus 26 goes here, because that is the MPN. The 2x plus 10 goes here. That's substitution. And you have to be specific. Don't just write sub. Looks like you're saying subtraction. Just saying. Right, substitution. Do you notice? It's the exact same as the last problem. Like, there's no difference. The only thing was it's angles and not segments, but it does the same math. So now what we're gonna do is maybe the next 2, 3 lines, something like that. We have to get down to x is 16. Hopefully we get down to x is 16. I don't care how you do it. I'm probably gonna subtract to both sides. Hopefully that works for you. So, I'm gonna subtract to both sides. I'm gonna do it both at once. I'm gonna subtract 2x to both sides. I know that seems a little silly, because that's a 1x. I'm gonna subtract 2x because I wanna bring that over here. I'm gonna subtract the 26 to the other side. I do this all at once. You could do this different. Maybe you wanna subtract the 10 across, or subtract the 1x to the other side. I don't know, it's just, however you look at your problem. I just see it as I wanna move the x's over, move the 26 over. No, it's not commutative, it's actually subtracting. So, what is 1x minus 2x?
-1.
Negative 1x. Those are gone. Those are gone. What's 10 minus 26? Negative 16. And again, how I just did that is I subtracted, did the subtraction prop of EQ. Property of equality, because I subtracted to both sides. If you multiply to both sides, say multiplicative property of equality. You added, say add property of equality. But I'm doing something. I get down to here. What's my last step? Divide by -1. Boom. That's my property name, right? Dividing. If I divide, cancel out the negative signs. X is 16. That's division property of EQ. Division prop of EQ. lines for 5, because it looks identical to the last one. I'm not meaning to trick you. I want you to know the basics. There'll be something like that. Solve for x. 4 to 5 to 6 lines. The outline is right by Molly there. You can see it over there. Look at it. You guys will be facing this direction tomorrow. That outline should be right in front of you. The outline for problems 2 and 3, actually problem number 3, that was the equation, that'll be over here. That one where you have to do property equality, all the properties like inverses, identities, all that good stuff. Okay, we go to number 5. Okay, let's move on to 6. 6 will take us longer. The reason why, if you look at number 6, it's not solving for x, right? Now we have to do a full-on geometry proof. I would not expect this one to be 4 or 5 lines. I would. It's gonna take you random numbered lines because you need to get down to the point where you can prove, what is that? A, C, and C, D are exactly congruent to each other. Is there a lot of vocab words right in the beginning of number 6? Yeah, I would expect more than 6 lines. Tons of vocab. Those will take you the first 3 lines. Anyone still need this though? Okay, I know I'm going fast, I'm really sorry. I wanna get to a point where we can talk about wherever you need to, especially like equations, because that problem 2 and 3 I'm really worried about. Because they're worth a lot of points. Gotta know how to do them. Watch those videos tonight. Watch them over and over and over and over and over. 7 should be pretty easy, just filling in gaps. Okay, 6. Scroll, you're writing a 2-column proof. This is a full-on geometry proof. There's no helping. You can do shortcuts, so don't be worried. You can do shortcuts. It is geometry, but you're not just solving that x is 12. You know, you're not doing that type of thing anymore. What do I have to do in step 1?
Given.
Givens. Okay. So we have a lot of givens, and they're actually written right here. If you get step 1 wrong, there's no helping you. It's literally printed with a property name right next to it. C is the midpoint. C is the midpoint of AE. C is the midpoint. Midpoint of BD. AE is congruent to BD. Those are all my givens. Literally printed there. They even have the property name right next to it. I can't make it any easier than this. Okay, we go to number 1. The next 2 lines. The next 2, not just 1, the next 2. You have to define vocab words. Probably one of the lines, I don't care which one, maybe it's line 2 or line 3, I don't care. One of them has to be midpoint, because you have to talk about what midpoint means. Midpoint means that 2 things are equal. And you have to talk about congruent. So those are your next 2. You should get a ton of points right off the bat, just because you're starting with the givens, you're defining words, so you're getting a ton of points just back to back to back. But you have to know what that means. So knowing that C is the midpoint of A to E, here's A to E, is knowing that C is the middle. So on line number 2, and I'm just going with the words I see first. Knowing that C is the middle of AE, that means AC has to be equal to CE. Those have to be equal. Those 2 sticks. In fact, I'm gonna make that marking. This thing has to be equal to that stick. That's what midpoint means. It's the middle, but it's also equal. In fact, we had a first theorem about that. First theorem is theorem 2-1. You better know what midpoint means. It means that things are equal. Second part. C is the midpoint of B to D. So here's B to D. C is the middle, so that means DC is equal to CB. And again, the whole reason, this is the definition of midpoint. And so middle means those sticks are equal. In fact, I need to make that mark. This stick is equal to that stick. Three, what's the other word we have to define?
Congruent.
Congruent, we have to go after that one, because that was the other word or weird symbol they had in number 1. So step 3, AE is equal to BD. Definition of congruent. So boom, we finally got line 1, all givens, line 2 and 3, if we need more, finding all those vocab words, midpoints and congruents, fine, we're done there. Now we're on to step 4, even though it's, if I'm looking at that little order over there, I should be getting to my formula now. Formulas are probably like segment addition here, because they're talking about, like, when I'm looking at this thing right here, AE, that's talking about the full stick. BD, that's the full stick. I probably should be getting points talking about what those things are. So, I'm on line number 4 here. Let's get to what part makes AE. What 2 parts add together to make AE?
AC and CE.
Yeah. AC plus CE makes AE. That whole thing. What part makes B to D? DC plus CD makes DB. The whole thing. The whole stick is made from those 2 parts added together. Step 4, that is segment addition. One of your postulates is postulate 2.9, if you will. You should know those. That you can add 2 small sticks together to make the big stick. And the whole reason why I'm doing that on this problem is because they actually said those parts earlier. I probably should define what those things are. Okay? Okay, we're good on number 4 so far. We're good on that 4th step. Okay, now, earlier, we talked about, that these things are equal, right? AE and BD are the same. Well, let's plug this in here, let's plug this in there. Because BD and AE are equal, so I can substitute these things in. Let's do that right now. So, on line number 5, I'm gonna plug those in. So AC plus CE is equal to, because all I did was take this mess here and plug it in there. And I'm gonna take the CD stuff, this part, and plug it in here. So that's DC plus CB, or BC, I don't care how you want to write it. And again, I just substituted. Okay. Now, the reason why I'm doing this, because again, I know a lot of people will get to line 4 by just doing the simple stuff, defining words, plugging in stuff like substituting things back in. But why am I doing step 5? Why did I suddenly set these 2 things equal to each other, even though I know that they should? Because what I'm trying to prove in the end, if I look at what I'm trying to prove that this piece right here is equal to that piece. And you're gonna see how I'm gonna get there here in a second. Because what I'm gonna do to get that these things are equal, I'm gonna substitute this and this piece out. Because I already talked about what CE was earlier. CE is what? It's AC. So I'm gonna substitute this thing out and put an AC here. This CB, that's a CD or DC earlier. I'm gonna substitute that in. The reason why that'll help me out, when I substitute those in, I'm gonna substitute this part in, right there. And over here, I'm gonna substitute in DC or CD, however you wanna say it. If you like alphabetical, just put alphabetical. So I'm substituting, and the reason I'm allowed to do that is because of this right here. These things are equal to each other, and that's why I'm coming up with these substitution steps. Because I need to prove that AC and DC are the same. You're about to see how I can do that. What do I get when I add these together?
2 AC.
What do you get?
2 AC.
2 ACs. I get 2 ACs when I add them together. That's just simple substitution, right? How many DCs do I have? 2. There's 2. Now, if you want to change that to CDs, that's fine. It's the same name. So maybe you just want to make that a CD to make it more clean. So it's going to look like my final answer. And again, this is substitution, just doing some simple math. And what's the last step? How do I get rid of the 2's?
Divide.
Divide them off. So line number 8, divide 2, divide 2. And this turns out to be AC is equal to CD, right? And that's what I'm just trying to get to. I'm doing division prop of DQ. Now, is your problem gonna take 80 steps? No. I want you to be able to do a simple problem where you define words, or givens, you define words, you set up your formula, you simplify where you try to get things equal. What I would expect, something 5 to 6 lines, 7 lines, somewhere in that ballpark. Maybe not this where it's going like overboard, but you need to know what you're starting with, what I'm trying to get down to, and just logically like piece things together. I'd expect some of the problems we did in class, maybe on the PowerPoint that I did last Thursday, and Wednesday, and Tuesday. Something simple. We didn't do very many problems that took that many lines. There was even a couple days I hinted at what problems I could put. Alright, questions on that one? Yes.
Because we find that AC is congruent to CD.
Okay, so that's one more step, right? So line 9, so if you wanna do the congruent, AC is congruent to CD. So if you wanna be, yeah, that's fine. If they're equal, they're also congruent, right? So line 9, that's definition of congruence. If they're equal, they're congruent. So I would not expect a 9-9 proof. I put this here because I want you to see kind of what we can do. Expect a segment or an angle problem. It'll be something where it won't take you very many steps, but you have to know the idea what you're trying to get to. And again, you want to try to prove this thing. So you got to get to a point where this is your last line. So you got to be thinking about like, what do I need to do in the middle? Do I need to subtract things? Do I need to add things? Do I need to substitute and do logical things? Don't make up stuff. Try to get to a point where you can understand that I'm substituting parts in or I'm adding pieces together to make your final answer. That's probably overkill for what we need, but at least get you kind of mentally prepared the type of problem you're gonna have. Okay, last one, last problem today. And you can work on wherever you need to, you can work on homework, because I know there's a lot of late work out there. All we have to do here is fill in gaps, and that's what your last problem of your test will be. Fill in the missing blanks. So at least you'll get some points here. Especially on some of these circles. Scroll over here. Okay. What should be about line 1?
Given,
Yeah. What is it?
measure of angle AOC plus measure of angle COD equals the measure of angle AOD.
Boom. You should not get that one wrong. Wrong. So boom, check. We're done with that one. Let's go to the next one. They're telling me on this one that AOC is 1 plus 2 added together. So if I add 1 and 2 together, what type of math am I doing here?
Angle addition.
Angle addition. So that's angle addition. They're going a little bit out of order than what I would have done. That's angle addition. They're proving that 2 things are added together. That's good. COD is 3. Now this is one that I haven't given you yet. COD is 3. That's reflexive, by the way. It's just setting an angle equal to itself. COD is this angle, and they're saying equal to 3. So that's reflexive. Setting something equal to itself because they're going to use that in the next line. If you want to say definition of an angle, I can understand that because you write angles different ways. So I can see it 2 different ways. The last one, what they're doing here is now they're taking this thing from here, they're taking the 3 from here, and they're plugging it in. What does it mean when you plug things in? Heard it? Substitution. You're plugging it in. They're taking out line 1 and plugging those parts in. They're plugging the 1 plus 2, they're plugging the 3 in here, and they're substituting it in. Substituting those in. And what are we trying to prove?
Measure of angle AOD equals measure of angle 1 plus measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3.
Boom. Shouldn't get the last one wrong. So check. That's something I would expect for the last one. Something where you fill in, it'll be something easy. Like, there should be two, like, give me points there, because you're filling in the first and last line. Alright, the rest of them is yours. This practice fix, brothers, this is due tomorrow. Now, I know freshmen, you guys are gone tomorrow, that's fine. If you're here, let's say you missed the bus, or you don't get to go to Romeo and Juliet, you are taking tests tomorrow. So mentally prepare, you are taking it tomorrow. Upperclassmen, you're taking it tomorrow. Keep that in mind. Wednesday, whenever you guys are back, so let's say freshmen are back Wednesday, you're taking it Wednesday. So you have to be ready to go, okay? Make sure this gets completed, done, finished. Make sure that you print out your property sheets and go to my website. Go to, Friday's lesson, I think it's on the main page, you can just scroll down, you'll see Friday, click on it. The very bottom of the page, it says property sheet, you can print one of these out. Okay, you can go to the media center and print out that printers in there, or just make sure that you have one, maybe you can print at home or something. Alright, there you go, test is tomorrow, keep it in mind. Homework, if you're missing it, you need to get it turned in, I can't do anything for you if you don't turn in missing work, especially page 147, 156, 139, and any of the other things I said you're missing. Wait till after class. Okay, I'm gonna hand back some papers. So the rest of that is yours. Let's work diligently and let's make sure that you're staying on task.